don't worry, the one is saving in the background. So we have a URL, we have a driver name, user. Okay, so this one is to show your query. So we can tile it on and off. I'll show you how the different code is. This one is not coming. He wants to go home, I see that. Okay, he's waking up. Okay, so we have this SQL and comments and things like that. So this is a standard setup, guys, and this is your persistence class. Okay, so now you're going to help me to annotate this class. That's all we have left to do. Okay, so why is a model class? Okay, so it says you have already made it as a persistence class, but you have not annotated it. So what it requires mandatorily is entity. Okay, and then this entity should come from javax.persistence. Okay, so even the machine is sleeping. Okay? So this is your persistence entity. And then this is not enough for us to just mark it as entity. We have to point it to the right table name if this is a different table name. So what I have to say is table. Okay. So table, and then I can give in the name. Name is equal to, within quotation, just say staff, because MySQL understands only small letters. Okay, it's case sensitive. So why is this guy angry? No identifier. Okay, he's going to the next query. Okay? So that's fine as long as you give a primary key. This fellow should be okay, but he can't recognize which ID. There are a few libraries inside, right? So Hibernate as well as JPA. So just pick the Java persistence, and it should be okay. You don't have to say at basic. You don't need any other annotation if your class name and your column name is just the same. Okay? But if it's different, oh, there's a translation, online translation going on. Can I request you to translate later? Translation later, or transcription is fine. Chat, it's fine. So then we have this three variables here. Okay. So if you want this to be exactly replicated in the database, you can just leave it like that. But instead, if I want this to be having a different name, instead of basic is understood, right? Every attribute is a basic attribute. Instead of basic or additional to basic, what I have to do is just say column. Okay. Do you do that in your entity framework? No, okay. So here you can have a different name from that of the basic. You can say name is equal to, and then instead of staff name, I can simply have the column name as staff, and that's fine. Name, and that's fine. Okay? So this is pretty much what alterations you can have. So the same way, if I want to change this column name with a slightly different syntax, okay, all I have to do is I can even miss this basic because that's not mandatory. I can simply call this as Sneakoff. As a column name. Okay? So this is your attribute, this is your column name. That's all it is. Okay? So this class is annotated, so we can start programming using this class. Okay? You want to start trying the entity manager thing, and then we are done with this demo. So let's go back to the test class. Okay, so I think I already wrote one. And I'll write one again, not a big deal. Okay? So what I'll do is, the making of the connection is going to be very repetitive. So I'll put that inside here. Okay? And all I'm trying to do here is a very simple thing. I'm just going to say create a factory and then create an entity manager and return an entity manager. Okay? So what I'm trying to do here is I'm making it static and final, if you see. Okay? I'm saying just one copy, one factory is enough, because for the whole, I'm not using a server yet to manage. Okay, so this is called non-managed environment. So what I'm trying to do here is just say every time go to this single factory and get the session from. Okay? So that's all I'm trying to do. So I'm classifying this as static, the creation as well as a static block, as you can see, because I only want one instance. I don't want objects here. Okay? And then I'm going to say whenever you say get entity manager, return that entity. Okay? And then whenever I say close, just close this. So these are the simple methods I'm writing. I can use this inside my main method and then do whatever I want. So let's write a very simple main method and see how this works. So I'm going to write a new class test staff JPA, okay, a main method. That's fine. So what is the first class that you need in your main method? Entity manager. Yes, this is the class that you need. You can declare that as EM. And where do you get that from? JPA utility, because you wrote a utility class, right? Dot get, why is it so slow? Get entity manager. Okay. So this is going to give you an instance of an entity manager. Okay. Then what is that you want to try? You want to try creating a staff to see whether it goes in. Okay. So you can say staff S1 is equal to new staff. Constructor should be 3 arguments. Okay, that's fine. 1, Surya, stupid rhymes well. Okay. It's not fine to go and kiss my buddies here. Okay, so I'll just have some imaginary characters. It's not that I don't fear. I am sarcastic on their face, not on their behind. That's not nice. They know me. Derek calls me the most cynical woman he has ever known, and that's fine. Okay. So you want some other names. So let's say Nancy is the Naggy, okay, and then Gloria is the Goofy. So you have some staff members. Okay. Oh, Gloria is the staff. Sorry, guys. Somebody in G. Okay. There's no students by that name, right? Some G. Imagine. Your programmer is running out of creativity. I know everybody is frustrated. So these are the staff members. You want to see if you can persist them. Okay. So you can say em dot persist. I'm running out of my keyword. Can I just have a look at this? I think I need to start a transaction, then persist. Yeah, that's right. So I have to start a transaction. Start em dot start. Is it get transaction or set transaction? Get transaction. Correct? Yeah, get transaction. So that one I don't have to do now, just say begin is enough. So get transaction. It's there in the slides if you want to see, but I have little time left, so I'm trying to rush through. So em dot persist. Okay, so you can persist your first record, you can persist your second record, you can persist your third record, then you can go and commit it. So this is what I mean by nested transactions. You are doing all these 3. When everything is successful, you just say em dot commit, not get transaction dot commit, because you're committing the transaction, not the entity manager. Okay? Dot commit. Okay, so then it's done. The next thing what you want to do is you want to query that and see if it has gone inside. Okay? So we can create a query. What do you do to create a query? Just say query is equal to. I think I'll copy that so that I don't waste your time. Okay, so you can try this out here. Not very difficult. It's just like your statement in your JDBC. Okay, so I'm creating a simple query here, and you see this is where it makes a difference. Normally, when I write a query in the JDBC, I have to say select star from staff. Okay, so here. This is SQL syntax. This staff refers to the table name. Okay? But when it comes to entity query, I don't need all this. It's assumed. And I don't need to call the table. I can directly call my object, which is capital S. Okay? So this staff refers to my staff model class. Okay? So that's all I'm trying to do. So when I say directly from, it implies it is select star. You don't have to explicitly say these things. So the query is storing. Okay? So it is entity manager dot create query. Okay, so you got it saved. Then you got to execute it and iterate through. Okay, so when You can actually use a for loop, not very difficult, but you can see you can iterate over a collection. But the collection here is not collection, but instead it is query dot execute get result set. It's called as get result set. It comes in as a list, and then you are iterating through there. Okay. So what you can do is you can cast this into a type if you want, and it's going to be staff in any case, right? So you can say cast it to staff and then store it inside the staff. Use a temporary variable called s, okay, and then use the brilliant SYSO to see things on the screen so that you can be sure that it happens to string. Okay. So I've inserted 3 records. I've tried to print them. That's all I've tried to do. But you would like to know where you are, so I'll put an SYSO here, okay, and then say data in my SQL. Okay. So first thing is you insert, second thing is you read it from there. Okay. And that's enough. You can simply say em.close. So this releases your entity manager. And just like you say connection.close, you can say em.close. So can we see if it runs? I don't know. Let's see. So we are here, your first JPA. Okay, let me close this so that it doesn't confuse me. So we are here, test staff JPA. Okay. So I'm going to say run as Java application. It doesn't run, and it tells me it's still taking sg. I know why. I think I didn't fix my utility. Okay. So I'm still looking for sg.n, which is wrong. Okay. Good, it gave me an error. This part should be exactly the same as what you have declared inside your persistence.xml. What did you declare inside the persistence.xml? I think you called it as we call it as sg.edu.nus, right? So just copy this back. You should be fine. Just say this is, you have declared this as your persistence unit. Use that in your connection as well. That's all it is. Okay. Say open your persistence manager from this point. So let's try running this again. Test Java JPA. Some other error. Let's see. Oh, not bad. It went through. So you see, every time it's showing me what query gets generated. Okay. If I don't want this, this is very ugly on my screen. I don't like it. What I have to do is just say show SQL is false. Okay. Show comments false. Then you don't get to see all the verbose things that you see on the screen. Oh yes, yes. Thank you. Otherwise, one more run and you'll all faint. So you can see that the query is not coming this time. Oh, where's my console? Okay. So you remember the query generation is stopped. It's just the data and the server or the console basically. Okay. So yeah, all the records are inside. So at any point in time, you can come back to your SQL server, refresh this. Okay. So refresh button is very silly here, but anyway, that's how it is. There is a staff. You can say select rows. You can see that the data goes in. Okay. Is this good enough to start working with? It's good enough for a first iteration, right? Okay. Then we'll do more sophisticated stuff like association, relationship, one-way mapping, two-way mapping. There are a lot of fun stuff. We'll take it up tomorrow morning.